With as little as 15 minutes a day, you can make a difference in the lives of these helpless musicians. Volunteer to be the next WCSO news anchor. Visit orchestrachildrenrelief.org to learn more.
Me too. Watch, he's recording all of this.
I'm not a very embarrassing person, am I?
Freshman or sophomore year, I can't remember what it was, and we were in a recording session. And we were recording some piece. Honestly, I think the only part of memory that stands out was the embarrassing part, where I was playing it. I just had an F sharp I was supposed to be playing, and it was really exposed. And it's not a hard note to play on the horn. It's right in the middle of the range, but it was completely sharp and out of tune. It was like 50 cents sharp. And we were recording, so we couldn't just let it go and move on, you know? So Dr. Somerville had to stop everybody, and he had to have me. We started again, and I still played it out of tune. And he stopped, and he did it again, and it was still out of tune. And then he had me like check different fingerings and try different stuff. And it was just the most. I was turning all red because we're stopping this whole recording session for just this, for my stupid little note. And in the end, actually, he had gracefully outplay the note, and I didn't even play.
So one time, I just had this moment where I like kind of jerked awake, and I looked and I realized we'd just finished playing a movement. And I look over at Grace, and I'm like, Grace, did I just play that movement? She's like, yeah. You don't look so good, Kayla. Are you okay?
At that point, and my phone was with my case, and I'd forgotten to turn it off because I was a freshman. So it goes off, and it starts ringing really loudly, and Dr. Somerville stops rehearsal and like looks around at everyone, and I think to myself, I can take the high road or the low road. So naturally, I chose to just look around and pretend like it wasn't mine and look accusatorily at Anna Moffat and be like, come on, Anna, you need to get it together, you're a junior.
Like, for instance, last concert, about 6 measures into the list, definitely had a pretty beautiful D there, all by myself, yes.
Katie on orchestra retreat this year over fall break. I walked into the bathroom the first night to brush my teeth and she was already in there and I said, oh my gosh, Katie, I forgot a toothbrush.
Stood up, faced the audience and smiled to acknowledge them as Dr. Somerville bowed. And then, of course, when the concertmaster sits back down, everyone else does. But then I forgot to sit back down, so I was still standing there smiling at the audience while everybody else was sitting down.
The thing I can think of is when I was late to the Festival of Faith dress rehearsal last year and I was principal. But I was crying, so Dr. Somerville didn't get mad at me.
Well, freshman year I wasn't in the conserve. I didn't know how to tell if I had gotten in. I didn't know where to look to see when we would start rehearsing or any such thing, so I missed the first orchestra rehearsal. Dr. Somerville was a little miffed.
After Jonathan conducted for the honors conducting for the Bizet, at the end he had told us, don't bow on the podium because you might hit your head, and we all laughed. We're like, oh, that's not going to happen. And it did after Jonathan conducted. And he probably has a little scar to prove it, too.
Oh, yeah. Somewhere here. You'll zoom up on that later.
Yes.
For our talent show that year, he definitely did a skit with the other cabinet members that year where he came out in his pajamas and conducted a miniature orchestra, and that is an image of Dr. Somerville I won't too quickly forget.
My roommate James took my phone and changed his number, like his name, the listing of his name to Dr. Somerville. So like it was I don't know, it was some afternoon, like a Wednesday afternoon or something, and James texts me, like, where are you? Like, but it's under Dr. Somerville. I was just like, see this text, I'm just like, oh, no, what do I have?
But he stopped at one point, he's like, you have to be disciplined, or else we could just play Finlandia or something. And I was like, is he honestly threatening us with playing Finlandia? I thought that was hilarious, because I kind of like that piece. But...
And you know how like everyone's kind of afraid of Dr. Somerville for a while because he's a little bit intimidating in orchestra.
Tall.
Yeah. And so like being in basic conducting and seeing him really relaxed and like getting to joke with him was really fun.
Having conducting lab with Dr. Somerville and then Dr. Weens, The contrast is sometimes pretty funny because, sometimes I imagine that Dr. Somerville might want to be saying what Dr. Weens is saying, and instead he will maybe patiently say, well, that was good. Now maybe we could work on, whatever it is.
Favorite memory of Dr. Somerville is actually when Eric Wielander impersonated him in a skit.
Last rehearsal yesterday when we were playing through the Getty piece, and he went to start the woodwinds and looked at me, and I just had this huge grin on my face, and he almost started laughing, but he looked down, composed himself, and then continued. It's like moments like that.
I just will never forget how hard Dr. Somerville worked when we were putting together the Holtz the planets.
Yeah, that's right.
With his headphones on, listening
Big
to the
old
click
headphones.
track, and he was deep in he was just concentrated the whole time and trying to keep us together with the screen, and it was very impressive.
That was super cool.
We were at this middle school my freshman year on our little half tour, and they introduced Dr. Somerville to the middle school as Mr. Dr. Dan and the Wheaton College Symphony Orchestra on their Magical Mysteries tour.
Oh.
And
I think that was the school that I told people that I rode a polar bear to school.
Yes.
We were playing something hard, and the winds were having trouble counting and entering and stuff, and we were really bad.
We were on Tom Sawyer's Island, and it was a large group of us, including Nathaniel and Carl. And they were doing this dance thing, and I was like, wait, let me get it on video. So I pulled out my little green camera and started taking a video, and we were about to cross a bridge, and they were doing their thing, and it was great. And I was like, I don't know if it's actually recording, but it was. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what I did. I guess I tripped.
You tripped on some
I tripped
steps.
on a step going up to the bridge, and I just totally...
Good morning and welcome to our 5th morning of tour here on the WCSO Morning Newscast. I'm Eric Wielander, and this is your news for Wednesday, March 11th, 2009. Although it wasn't fun and games for everyone, while frolicking in the Magic Kingdom, violinist Danielle Seaman fell and badly scraped her knees and arms. She was actually trying to film this video at the time of the accident.
It's not working! I think mine is. Danny, are you okay? I'm fine. Oh, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
I've heard a variety of counts as to what happened next, but the one I like best is that Peter Pan swooped down from the sky and took her to the first aid clinic, where Donald Duck patched her up with magical band-aids.
Also from Disney World, how excited Nathaniel Kling was about his little Mickey Mouse mug. And every time he went, dreams come true!
Such a magical place.
Yeah.
Couldn't get over it.
It's great.
So okay. Everybody knows I'm going to say this. But it's really funny when people use the same adjectives all the time, or words all the time. They're kind of people's buzzwords. And Dr. Somerville definitely really likes to use the word thrust in rehearsal. And I can't help but laugh every time.
It's true.
And
She always looks at me.
I always look at Katie because I don't want to laugh while I'm looking at Dr. Somerville. It's probably just because it's slightly inappropriate. But
It's really funny. Freshman year, I went with him and Debbie Rogers and I think Kathleen Ludington to Val Whitney's recital at Northwestern. And on the way back, I was living at Smith. And we got to, that intersection right, what was that street? By Smith Traver. I was living on Smith Traver. Mm-hmm. And so we're getting there, and Debbie's like, oh, why don't you just drive up the sidewalk there? And I was like, what? And so Dr. Smith was like, okay. So he drove out that little sidewalk to straight up to Smith Traver and dropped me off at the front door. And it was really exciting. And I was like, I couldn't believe it because I was like, Dr. Somerville?
My advice to freshmen and those entering orchestra now is just to quit while you're ahead.
Quit orchestra.
That's what I said.
We are related.
Become really good friends with your section. This year we've just had the flutes in particular, we just had an amazing time, and we're all really tight and have like flute dinner after orchestra on Thursdays and stuff, and it's really fun.
Oh, if you're a string player, don't ask a question from the back of the section. Pass it forward.
If Dr. Somerville emails out rehearsal numbers to put in your music, put them in the music.
Take gen ed classes. They're fun, and you meet people that you would never meet if you just stayed in the conserv and did theory and oral skills.
Stand up at the end of a concert, and like we're being acknowledged by the audience, and people are closing their folders and putting their music away.
People do that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's tacky.
Yeah, it looks bad. Don't do it.
Yeah, concert etiquette.
My advice for orchestra members in the orchestra in the next few years is avoid Mr. Zafer at all costs. He is just unprepared. He lets students come in late all the time. He doesn't care if we have our notes prepared. Sometimes he just like brings freezies in and we just like eat food and have party. Actually, that's what happens most of the time.
Oh, really, Marcus?
Well, I mean, I can't think of a freshman.
So when, you know, at Symphony Center when we did the opposite, like the second violins and the cellos switched places this year, well, I had multiple people come up to me saying, I'm not so sure I really like this. I like this setup. They were like, I really miss looking at Daniel Wilder.
There are some perks.
So advice, try and sit
Look
in a
at
position
Daniel
where
Wilder.
you can look at Daniel Wilder during rehearsal.
Put D-dubs in your line of vision.
It might make rehearsal go faster. I don't know. I'm not saying anything, but
You'll miss a few entrances probably.
Yeah, you might. You could be slightly distracted, but you know.
The flute section would like to nominate Aaron for the freshman crush. Thank you.
I mean, if anyone, Eric Krumstig is pretty awesome. There's not very many freshman guys to pick from, and he's a pretty amazing specimen.
Aaron Krumstig.
Scott Carrick, because he is both tall, dark, and handsome, and the strong, silent type.
Wait, is April a freshman? I forget. Oh no, it's terrible. If she were a freshman. I don't know. We get along really well, so I could see some good times there.
There's one I can't think of. Her name.
Who?
You just want
Are you being serious?
Glasses. Plays violin.
Kelsey? Voynov?
Kelsey Voynov?
That's what you're thinking.
Whatever.
That's what you're thinking.
I agree with Eric. They're all worthy of being a crush.
Crushed upon.
They'll all be worthy of being crushed.
Well, I was gonna say Justin David, but
Yikes. Burn.
Wow. Okay. I take it back.
I need my ring back. Give me my ring back. It's like all my net worth.
Until next time, stay classy, Wheaton College.